Hi crafters, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Paper Crafts. Thank you so much for watching. Today I've got a technique video for you, and it's one that I haven't done in quite some time, so it was really fun to re-explore it. I'm going to show you how to do the spotlight technique. Basically, the spotlight technique is where you take a piece of your image and you highlight it in some way. For this one, I cut out some of the True Love DSP with the stitched shapes circle die and did the next size up out of the Magenta Madness in color. And then I colored it in and attached it on top of the piece of designer series paper. And I cut out this from the back, so you're doing a paper saver as well. For the other one that I'm going to do and show you how to do right now, I'm actually using the same designer series paper, and I've already started to color it a little bit, but I decided to do a square instead of circle. Now you can do this in any way, shape, or form that you want. You can even just use any shape, you can use any color, you can use whatever you would like to make it your own. The only thing that you need to remember is to keep your spotlighted piece highlighted by the next size up. So if you have punches, you can do it that way. If you have a trimmer like the Stampin' Up trimmer that has a blade that you can lift up and position and cut out, you can even cut it out that way. So I'm going to finish coloring the images. Now I'm using my Stampin' blends. You can use watercolor markers, you can use pencil crayons, you can use the watercolor pencils. I've chosen to use the light rich raspberry, the light old olive, and for the center of the flower, I'm using the light so saffron. So I've already got my image mostly colored. I'm just going to go ahead and finish it off. So I like to use the fine tip end when I'm coloring. I just find that it gives me just a little bit more control. And I also like to color in a circular motion so that the marker lines blend together and are a little bit more hidden. You can also, if you're doing a larger image, just go straight side to side, but you have to be aware that you may be leaving some marker lines behind, and all you have to do to hide them is just keep building up your color. Now, one of the things that I love about the blends is that they dry pretty much instantly. On the Stampin' Up paper, they don't tend to run. I have tried them on other quality cardstock, and depending on the weight and how the process that they are using to make their paper, sometimes it can spread a little bit. So if that's the case, just go a little bit lighter and not quite so close to the edge, and the problem should be reduced. Before I started with Stampin' Up and using the blends, I was using Copic, so that's what I started with for the alcohol ink markers, and there's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, it translates to pretty much any type of alcohol marker. All right. If you're stamping your image to color, you do need to use the Memento. Nope, hold on. Let me think about that for a second. You use the Memento Black for the blends because it won't run. You can also use the Stampin' Up regular ink pads because they don't react with the alcohol either. Okay. So I'm just going back and adding some highlights. And if you're using the light color and you want to add depth, all you have to do is just keep going over the same area, and with each application, it will get darker. So it's great for adding shadows and highlights, and just, I could color for days sometimes. Okay, that's a little bit light, so I'm just going to go over that again. And if you do happen to go over the edge a little bit, There is a color lifter. All you need to do is just very lightly, very gently go over it, and it will fade the color. Okay, whoops, dimensional stuck to my arm. Okay, I'm happy with the way that that looks. So I'm going to take my markers, move them off to the side, and then I'm going to bring in my paper. So I cut this one at a diagonal, and when you're going to place your spotlighted image back on, you want to make sure that it's lined up fairly close to where the image was cut out from so that it makes sense. So I'm just going to take this and put my adhesive, because I've cut out the center of this and I don't want it to lift up at all, I'm just going to put adhesive on all 4 sides. Okay, and this piece is cut at 5 1/4 by 4, so that it fits onto my mat. And I'm just going to eyeball it to be about 1/4 inch. There we go. And then just press to flatten. And then I'm going to take my other piece and put it at a diagonal. This one I'm going to put this one, flat. If your adhesive doesn't start, all you need to do is give it a bit of a push with your thumb and it'll go exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so cover that up. Okay, and then you can see you're just going to kind of keep turning until it's lined up where it needs to be. So I'm going to pop this piece up on dimensionals. I'm going to do 1 on each corner. And you can see that it does bleed through to the other side. Okay, so make sure. Nope. Oh my goodness. Apparently, my abstract thinking is not functioning very well today. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to roughly center my colored piece onto my black piece of cardstock. And then I've decided for this one that I want to put a black bar. So this is about 1 inch by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to do this that I've already cut out of the Many Messages stamp set. Now I did a video earlier this week on how to use this stamp set with the coordinating dies. The stamp set and the dies are one solid piece. So if you have this or are interested in finding out more about it, please check it out. Okay, and I'm just going to run a line of adhesive onto here. And if you're in Canada and would like to shop with me, check out my Stampin' Up store, andreaestinson.stampinup.net. Or you can also follow me on Facebook, Prairie Sky Paper Crafts. And of course, if you have any questions at all, you can send me an email, prairieskypapercrafts@gmail.com. Okay, so I've got my piece here. I'm just going to take some more dimensionals and put one on each edge of my piece. And this was cut out with the double oval punch. So these two coordinate really well together. You can stamp the larger piece as a background and then the smaller piece to put your sentiment on. Okay, and I'm just going to center that onto my card. And there you go. 2 different ways of doing the spotlight technique. And as I said, you can also color it with anything that you would like, and feel free to experiment with background colors, spotlight colors. I hope you have fun with this technique, and please, if you do try it out, head over to my Facebook page and show me. Don't forget to hit subscribe below so you're notified every single time a new video goes live. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it.